Alright. That's what all of our videos are just going to start now. Awkward pauses. Anyways, hello, word nerds. Happy Sunday, and welcome to our live chat. This week we are talking about Mockingjay Part 2. There will be spoilers for both the book and the movie, obviously. So we'll probably jump in with just like very brief, like what we thought at first, but then after that, if you haven't seen it yet and you don't want to be spoiled, you should probably watch this chat a little bit later on once you've seen the movie. So fair warning, but we will miss you. And if you've seen the movie already, we of course want to know what you guys thought. So comment along in the usual. We don't have our comments, so Megan put the link in the description. For now, we'll start off with our own ratings of the movie. Erin, you are first on my left.
All right. I'm gonna have to give it 5 out of 5, just for feels, really. The emotional impact of it. And I know it's a good movie when I can go and see it twice and get just as excited about it and be just as emotional. So that's my rating.
All right, Emma?
I'm going to give it 4.5 out of 5. I loved it, but I liked part 1 of Mockingjay better.
Oh.
I thought I had more.
I actually did really like part 1.
Yeah. I think this one was really well made. It was really good. The part 1 had more of an emotional impact, but I thought this one was probably like better, like actually like story wise. But the emotional impact of the first one was really good. But I still loved it.
And Megan?
This is hard. I didn't think of numbers. I'll probably give it a 5 because I feel like I really liked it, and I've only read Mockingjay once, and it was like right after it came out, and so like I didn't remember anything until like the second it was happening, like the ending. I was like, oh no, I remember this, like right as it started happening. So it was like a really fun experience to not remember so many things and then like see them happening and kind of relive it in that way.
And I'm going to give it a 4. Like, I really enjoyed it. I've seen it twice as well, but even the second time through, I'm just a little bit like, there are things missing here that could have kept me a little bit more hooked. So we'll get into it a little later. But anything else you guys want to say before we go all spoilery on people? Just any general thoughts?
I'm wearing a Mockingjay pin.
I
wore it to see the movie too.
Actually, I have a harder question. If you had to rate all 4 movies, like give them in an order.
Oh,
that'd be so hard.
I can't. I can barely remember some of them.
I know Hunger Games would be at the bottom.
Really?
It's probably the weakest of the 4.
Well, I didn't like the cinematography.
Yeah. They changed directors with Catching Fire, and the movies got better. Like, it was still a good movie, and I remember really loving it, but it wasn't as strong as the other ones have been.
And when comparing it to the other ones and like rewatches and stuff, you can see like initially when it was the only one, like this is amazing, but then after that,
I remember I haven't watched Catching Fire in a while, but I remember loving Catching Fire.
I love Catching Fire. It is my favorite.
It's my favorite of the books. So
me too.
Yeah.
And these, more than like any series I can think of, are so freaking true to the books.
Yeah, they did a really good job with that.
So the things they do only improve on the books.
Yeah, oh for sure. I'm never one to be like, oh, books and movies need to be exactly the same. Like, but I thought they kept the tone and the essence of the story everywhere they needed to.
Yeah.
And added in the world in some really cool places.
Yeah.
I think probably the third one was my number 1 favorite. Like 3 and 4, then 2 and 1. Just because.
Interesting.
I loved the third one. Like, we came
so
out of the theater just like mind blown.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of people didn't like it because there wasn't as much action and stuff. But I really liked that one. And then, I don't know. I just loved the last. I love the way the last one was shot. Like all of the different angles and like the sets were really amazing. So I thought it was so pretty that like the whole time I was like,
it was. In general, these movies have been really pretty. Like even the scenes that are like drab, like district stuff, it's done in such like a visually stunning way.
I just want to talk about the fact that Jennifer Lawrence is like, she's just such a good actor, and she doesn't. What I really love about it is you see so many movies where the main character is
perfect, and even if she's had this horrible night and she slept in a ditch, her makeup is perfect and she looks amazing. And Jennifer Lawrence can ugly cry.
Oh,
and I just love that they let her do that. In the end, you even see like this thing of drool coming out of her mouth, but it's so accurate, right? Like I felt it, I think, like about 100 times more than I would have if she just had like a little single tear, you know, like it's more realistic, right? Because if you've ever ugly cried, you know that's what it's like. There's feeling and it's ugly.
We're really lucky that we got her in Hunger Games before she became really big. Like, you know, because if Hunger Games had been made 2 years later, they wouldn't have gotten her. But like, they snagged her like right on like the cusp of her career, and she's an amazing actress. Also, Josh Hutcherson was amazing.
I love him.
I want to know what did he do for that role?
A lot of it's computer work.
Okay.
Yeah, a lot of it's on the computer.
Yeah.
Okay.
But both the Mockingjay movies, he did such a good job of acting that transition too.
No, acting-wise for sure. But when I first saw him, I'm going,
I
know. I hope it's computerized, not actual all the weight he's lost. Because I know other actors have done that for roles.
Yeah.
And
I love it.
really good.
This is gonna be one of those difficult chats. We're also like, yeah, that was great.
Okay, I don't remember the mutts being that terrifying though.
I don't either.
Were they?
I think it's one of those things that you can't put in a book like you can in a movie because everyone's imagination is
picture them more lizardy in the book.
Did we see them in the first movie though? Because they were in the first book.
It's different mutts and different movies.
Okay.
Mutts is kind of a general term.
Yeah, in the first movie they're like dog creatures.
Dogs.
Yeah.
Okay, because I'm going like I don't remember them being this terrifying.
Mutts are just like any like genetically engineered creature that the Capitol makes. Yeah. So
okay. Yeah.
I like barely remember that scene in the book. Like I think when I read Mockingjay, I wanted to know what happened so badly. I read through that book really quickly.
Yeah.
So I forgot a lot of stuff. By the time I saw the movie, I remembered a lot of it because I'd seen people talking about it. But the first
I tried to avoid seeing people talking about it. I didn't want them.
This is gonna be our first big spoiler of this chat. But like the first time I saw someone mention on the internet about Finnick dying, I was like, he died? I don't remember.
I did remember that.
I was remember. Like once they were in the tunnels, I'm like, it's coming.
Yeah. So that's I saw the movie.
But yeah.
But I loved his movie death so much more.
So good.
Like the book death was good because it was like ironic, you know, because of the net. But the movie death made him more of like a hero, which I felt. I like Finnick, so I was like, you deserve it. You have to die.
It worked really well with
so good.
It worked really well with the Hollow. Though when she was like Nightlock, I'm like, hurry up! Out. He's like,
see, that was one of the things where I was all like, you have exploding arrows. Why waste your most valuable tool?
Yeah,
that's silly.
But
and like, it's even faster than like saying the words and waiting. Just.
Was she? Did she still have arrows at that point?
Explode, do they?
She had exploding ones. I don't know if she had any left.
She did.
Okay.
I think she might have run out at that point.
My guess was, or I thought she had run out, but now I'm not sure anymore. Maybe.
Like, and even then, like having her go for it to grab one and then use it would have made me feel better. Of just like she didn't even see if she had any.
Yeah.
Well, I guess she would know if she had any
in
or
the
not,
book with
but
that?
I don't remember.
Yeah.
I really want to reread the entire series now.
Yeah.
But for some reason, I realized I only have the first two. I don't know why.
Because like I almost feel like sacrificing the I've already forgotten what it's called. The Hollow would have been like, okay, she's willing to do it to like give her friend an easy death, make it more of a sacrifice that she doesn't even think about it. Because I don't even know if that same thing kind of happened in the book. So unless it was written exactly that way, but even then.
But maybe she knew that. But maybe she knew they were getting really close to the Capitol because remember in the room.
But she didn't know. They only turned off the explodey things and whatnot because all of the citizens were going to them.
Right,
like,
but I thought they talked about
off.
that before. Like when they were in that house taking shelter, they were like, that was after, right? Yeah. Okay, you're correct. Huh.
So she didn't know, but like there was no way they could have gotten from there to where they needed to go if they hadn't turned them off. Like that would have just been game over. Anyways, small nitpicky thing for me, but it was
Which is funny because I never would have.
That's your
I
best
never
plan.
would have thought about that.
Yeah.
But if you're writing, that's kind of a plot hole. But I never
Yeah.
would have. Interesting.
I don't know. I want to find out what happens in the book now. I'm trying to find it, and I can't.
Yeah.
It's
don't
not
think it's
that
the
I
same
object
thing.
to how she did it. I would have just made it more of a sacrifice, made it more
Yeah,
relevant, not just like without thinking, give up your best tool.
Right.
Yeah.
That's true. Would have made it more symbolic too.
They just got so caught up in how symbolic and lovely Finnick's death was. All the feels, no time to think.
Yeah. Kelly's far more analytical, logical.
That whole sequence, though, like leading up, because you know the Mudds are coming, but you
Yeah.
don't know when. And they just like strung you along for such a long time.
Also, yeah, like when like everyone's like sleeping and she like hears the whispers and like PETA wakes up and like starts freaking out and you're just like, oh my gosh.
And they're all going through the freaking crawl space.
Yes, that was awful. I'm like, my heart is beating
Yeah,
so
the tension
hard
in
right
that
now.
whole part of the movie was so well done.
Oh my god.
That's why I'm like, what? Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say, it's like I think sometimes, like Megan said, I get so caught up, especially in the first viewing of it. I didn't even like I knew there were whispers, but I didn't pay close attention, and I didn't know it was like Katniss until the second viewing, and I'm going, oh my god, that is so creepy. I just sort of thought it was like echoing or whispering or shuffling or something. You know, I didn't pay close attention to what it was until the second time round, which is why I'm really glad I watched it twice. So. Ugh, so creepy.
So great.
I want to watch it again. 3 times.
Really, everything once they got into the Capitol, I was really, really happy with, especially with just like how brutally everyone is killed off so quickly. Like the guy who makes it out of the tunnels and then just gets incinerated. Like,
Yeah.
Jesus.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh.
There's no warning at all.
Brutal. The like packages they sent down. I completely until a second before that happened. Another major spoiler coming up here. A second before they exploded, I was like, oh yeah, and then
That was me too.
completely forgot until then.
Because Jared and I were watching the preview together, and they show the parachutes in the preview for the movie. And Jared started freaking out because he just read the book like a year ago.
Right.
I was like, don't tell me, I don't want to know.
I forget.
That was one of the few things I remembered about this book was that whole like strategy they used. Because it's the whole reason like Katniss can't trust Gale anymore.
Yes,
Yeah.
and exactly. And I knew that had happened in the book, that she turns against Gale a little bit in the end, but I didn't get the full impact until second time around again. Because you remember when he initially says,
He said that way early in the movie.
early in the movie,
made it more clear
hit them.
later on.
Yeah, we hit them, then the medics come in, then we hit them again. And then that happens.
But was
And
Gale
I
more
remember him
responsible
saying
for
that.
Prim's death in the book?
No. In the book it's exactly the
No.
same where Katniss never knows if it was him or if it was his idea or not.
Because he doesn't
Because he
answer
doesn't
her
know either.
properly.
Yeah, because he doesn't really know either because he wasn't with the rebels. He was with Katniss when it happened.
Right.
So, like, he doesn't really know if it was his fault.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But still, yeah. Like, I don't, like, I know a lot of people said that, oh, Katniss was too hard on him and blah, blah, blah. But I don't know.
Yeah, she would.
I was
and, like,
mad.
yeah, she would always associate it with her
Mhm.
sister's death. Associate him with her sister's death, even if it wasn't his fault. You know, like.
Well, because he was so gung-ho to bomb them and being
Yeah.
like, this is war and all
Yeah.
this stuff, right?
Yeah.
Well,
But yeah, I think that scene early in the movie where he brings up that idea, like it's definitely because I remember what happened at the end when he said that early in the movie. I was like, oh, there it is.
Yeah.
So like,
I wasn't paying
Yeah.
close attention during that
Yeah.
part. Like,
Yeah,
I
same.
blinked or something and I missed it.
Yeah.
And so then at the end I was like, they didn't even mention that it was Gale.
Yeah.
And Jared was like, well, there was a really quick thing right at the beginning.
Yeah, it's totally.
well, and
if
the
you-
ending.
if you don't like remember it from the book or you haven't read the book, it's totally a second viewing thing that you know. Because I like had to explain it to Michael, and he was like, "Oh yeah, that I remember that scene earlier." And,
That's same with me because initially I didn't remember until the end of the movie about the bombs at all. And so the second time round, when he was hunched over the screen thing, going, "We'll drop a second bomb on them when the medics come in," then I was like, "Oh, like that's when I suddenly remember. This is significant." Yeah, that's why if I really like movies, I like seeing them a second time because there's so many things.
Yeah, there's so much you miss.
Yeah, exactly. That you catch the second time around.
Yeah, I super want to watch all 4.
Yeah.
Just like really close together now.
I watched them within a span of a week, so I felt like I got a pretty good sense of the series as a whole, which was fun.
Yeah. Because in my head, the movies did a really, really good job. I feel like we were talking about this at writing group, but in my head, like, it seems like they did a very good job portraying character development throughout the whole thing, which, like, sometimes you lose a little bit of in movies because you don't have, like, 500 pages to see a character change and see them have, like, PTSD and go through crazy things. And so I'd like to see if that holds up when I watch all of them together.
Any other standout moments in the movie for you guys?
Oh, I just love the ending scene. Just huge, so much goosebumps going on. Just like when it's something about the drum beat when she's walking down the kind of arena towards Snow. And Snow, just all of his expressions are just so perfect. What's the actor's name who does President Snow? I can't remember.
Donald Sutherland.
Donald
Sutherland. I just think he's so good at it, especially when you see her flick her eyes up just as she's about to move the bow up, and I'm just imagining what's going on in his head at that point. Yeah. And then she does it, and he just smiles. Yeah. I don't know. I just really love how he portrayed.
Yeah.
He's already a really cool bad guy, and then the way the actor did it was really well done.
Yeah. That whole scene the scene in the greenhouse is just like
yes. Oh. And it's such a beautiful greenhouse too. The second time around, I'm like, I want one.
He just, like, struck that balance so well, where it was like, you're creepy and I hate you, but also I kind of see why you like Katniss and seem to understand her. Like, I loved it.
It's like, I hate you, but I also see how you were charismatic enough that the people elected you in the first place. Like, I see how you came into power.
I really like how he says in the end to Katniss, I told you we would never lie to each other. I thought we said we would never lie to each other.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And then he said, I'm not against killing children, but it's always for a purpose. I was like, okay. But you believe him at the same time.
Yeah.
Right?
Because he's never lied to her. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
Crazy.
Their whole relationship is like a really interesting dynamic.
I really like him as a bad guy in the books and the movies.
Okay, we got some comments.
Ooh.
Oh, you want to finish first?
Well, I was just gonna say, because like it is kind of hard to make the trope work where the bad guy's really old and the good guy's the teenager. But this was like they seemed well matched, even though he was much older.
Yes, they did that well.
Okay. Rose feels that Mockingjay Part 2 was awesome, but was kind of sad as well. Doesn't know why. She was mad about Finnick's death, and her movie rankings are Mockingjay Part 2, Catching Fire, Hunger Games, Mockingjay Part 1. Isa agrees, or Asia. I never read comments, so I haven't relearned everybody's names like people have. Agrees with Megan, though, that her favorites were 3 and 4 than 2 and 1. Jody asks, actually, I'll get to the question at the end of the other comments. She also, going back to Isa, I screamed so loud when Finnick threw his trident to the man next to her tosses popcorn.
That's amazing.
That's pretty cool. Sarah agrees with Erin that there was certainly a lot that got missed during her first viewing and was pleasantly surprised at how the second viewing went and absolutely kept comparing every scene to the book, which drove her crazy. And then I just want to leave this question for the end, but we might as well jump to it now. What do you guys think about the prequel movies? This is from Jody. Who from the series would you like to see them be about?
I didn't know there was prequel.
Well, they're talking about them.
I've seen the headlines about them, but I haven't actually read about them yet. I knew
really
what
graphic.
was happening. Yeah.
What's
They're
happening?
talking-
Someone tell me.
Yeah,
They're
they're
talking about prequel.
supposed to be making like prequel movies, I guess, about former victors, I'm pretty sure.
They're
Yeah,
having, I
Oh,
don't
I
think they've
think
been
I saw
officially
someone
said.
talking about that.
Yeah. Like
Yeah,
someone
they-
talking
Finnick
about
and
doing
Annie.
it.
I want all of Finnick and Annie's story.
Yeah. I want Johanna.
Yes.
So this is something Suzanne Collins is signed
No.
off on, I guess. Oh no.
I don't think so. I think it's just kind of like I don't think anything's even official. I could be
Oh,
wrong.
okay.
I think it is official now. I saw like an actual like thing about it. Let me look it up.
Yeah.
You guys.
Why am I so behind on news like this? No one tells me these things.
I
I feel
don't think I
like
heard any official like plot. Like
Oh.
I know some people are still saying they'd like it to be about the rebellion 75 years before, and some people would like it to be about Haymitch's quarter quell and.
That would be
I
interesting.
would very much like to see President Snow coming to power.
Mm.
I would love to see that story.
That would
I
be
don't feel
very
like I
interesting.
need any of them.
Yeah, I don't need any
Yeah.
of them, but if they're gonna make them,
I can see something being back in the arena. I think that fascinates people, and I think that they would probably do.
Well, that was some people's like they were disappointed in Mockingjay Part 1 because there wasn't an arena because they really wanted children murdering each other. I guess.
I remember that was what people didn't like about the book Mockingjay is they were like, I don't know, they were like it's just so different from the other ones. I was like, well, yeah, because we have to solve the whole rebellion thing. Like, you can't have
Well,
another-
yeah.
They did play that off in the movies really nicely. Of like, this is the 76th annual Hunger Games.
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, and you can't really repeatedly return to the arena because the story isn't really going to grow and change and end. You know, that's my opinion, but
Yeah.
I
And
was
just,
even
like, the
surprised in
symbolism.
the books where she went back again. I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
Initially.
Oh yeah, so this was like this past week. The Lionsgate's vice chairman like confirmed that the Hunger Games will live on and on through prequels. And they're expected to tell the story of previous Hunger Games.
See, but where do you have the tension in that?
Yeah.
Like at that point, you really are making movies
You know
about
who
the enjoyment of.
survives.
Well, even then, if you pick like someone you don't know, like you don't pick a main character's things, then it really is the plot of the movie is watching kids kill each other, which kind of defeats the purpose.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Interesting.
And like, where's the conflict if you already know how all of this, like you know?
And yeah,
know.
for sure.
So then the conflict is who's going to survive the Hunger Games, which is dumb.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, and like a quote from the vice chairman. He was like, "The one thing that kids say they missed from the early Hunger Games films was there were no arenas. If we went backwards, there would obviously be arenas." And this article's like, "Oh
No.
great! Can't wait to see kids killing each other again."
There's something
Yeah,
a little bit
to me-
wrong with this.
No part of like seeing them in the arenas again seems interesting. Like to me, I want to see like Finnick and Annie coping afterwards and falling in love, and like President
Yeah.
Snow becoming a super bad guy and
That would
destroying
be
everything. Like,
Yeah.
I don't
But I
need to
don't-
see the arenas. I know they're bad.
But even then,
Yeah.
where's the conflict, like from a movie making
Yeah.
perspective, with President Snow? You know he wins.
But I
Until
think
the
it's
point
more
where he
about the
loses.
character. At that
Yeah.
point.
But that's not
Character.
something Hollywood's really going to do, right? They're not
That's
doing
true.
character
It would be
exploration.
more
Yeah.
like
And
a
it's
book.
I just feel like if the
Yeah, it would be an
prequels
awesome
are
book.
if the prequels are about like earlier Hunger Games, then we are becoming like what Suzanne Collins was talking about. Like, you know,
Yeah.
like we're just making extra movies because we want to watch kids kill each other.
But
Like, if
to
it's outside the context of the story of the like with like Hunger Games and Catching Fire, it's in the context of this rebellion and like these things that are wrong with this world. But instead it's
Yeah.
like, I mean, yeah, you'd still be confronting a little bit of what's wrong with their world, but it'd mostly be there so that we can enjoy
the thing
watching
is,
the violence.
like, I fully agree with what you're saying, but Suzanne Collins has kind of proved that she doesn't really care.
Yeah.
She signed off on a Hunger Games theme park, which
Mhm.
to me just fly and like a what was it, a Capitol themed line of makeup or something.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
just these things that are just being very merchandised that I would, if somebody came to me and was like, it would be tempting. That's a lot of money, but at the same time, it's like kind of flies in the face of everything that the Hunger Games is about.
Yeah.
So
I'm not not sure that they'll get enough support to even get these off the ground. So,
Yeah,
because like
I'm not sure I see
Mockingjay
it
Part 2 had like record lows.
Of the whole series.
Like I was pretty surprised by that, but like they had opened with much less money.
It's like I love this series, but I'm done with it. Like I don't need
that's
more
very
of this
much how I
story.
feel.
It's not like with like Harry Potter. Like I don't need more of Harry Potter, but I can enjoy more of Harry Potter and like the world it's in. I don't need more of the
Yeah, it's the world. Like going to the movies next year and stuff. It's going to be a totally different conflict, just that's in the same world that we love, which I'm fine with because the stakes of that movie don't affect the stakes of Harry Potter.
Exactly, and there's so much to work with in the Wizarding world. There's so much you can do with that.
And there's
Hunger
Eddie
Games, it's like,
Redmayne.
Hunger Games, it's like the arenas, the Hunger Games. That's
There's
all
nothing you
have to
can
work
do
with.
before that doesn't feed into these movies.
Yeah.
Exactly. Although I'll still pay my money to go see it, probably. Something so I'll be so curious to know what it will be like.
I think it would depend for me on
what it is.
the ads, because like with Insurgent, I was like, I don't need that.
That's I'm not seeing the next one that comes out. I just saw a preview for it last night, and I was very surprised myself by being meh. It just doesn't interest me anymore.
I haven't even seen Insurgent yet. Like I'm just not interested.
I have.
See, I was more interested in the Allegiant trailer than Insurgent because it seemed a little closer. But I don't understand what the second movie is gonna be because it seems like they covered the entire plot in that trailer.
Well, and you know, like instead of being Allegiant Part 1 and 2, they have like a separate name for the fourth one.
I know. So part of me was hoping they just realized splitting it into two movies was a mistake, and they're just like, nope, this is just Allegiant. So that's what I'm hoping for.
This is just what we're doing. Yeah, I don't really understand. And in a way, I feel bad because I want to support YA movies in particular because I want them to make lots of them. But at the same time, I see the series in the next trailer, and I'm just not interested.
It's like,
but I want them to make them well. I don't want them to think they can just keep turning out bad movies and keep paying for them.
Yeah, I want to see lots of good YA movies, and I don't want them. I don't want them to be like, we can make these subpar YA movies, and people will still spend money on them because then they'll only make subpar ones. And
that's very much what I feel they're trying to do with Hunger Games. Who knows what'll be subpar, but they're like, we can make money on this, so let's do it.
Oh yeah,
the fact that they don't even have a set plot before they decided, this is a thing we're going to do.
Well, the thing from the chairman about this franchise will live on and on is like, okay, you're like ka-ching, there's dollar signs and walls for sure.
That's his job, though. I mean, he's a businessman.
True, and I don't begrudge him.
I don't agree with it.
But if that's all that's driving you, that can become a very big problem because fans will get mad at you if you are not loyal to the vision of the story.
You want to end on as high a note as possible.
Yeah.
Although, you know what? I think that YA fans are not stupid. We are not content with things that are not well done. Like the City of Bones movies, people were mad. A lot of Cassandra Clare fans, I saw them on Twitter and Facebook being like, what was that train wreck, right?
Yeah.
And these are 15-year-old girls, so you can't say, well, they're just 15-year-old girls. They'll be fine with this subpar acting and this sort of craptastic plot we've shoved together.
They just want to see cute boys. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, the guy
wasn't
cute.
He
wasn't cute boys.
No. It didn't help, right? So obviously we are not content with stuff that's subpar. Well, hopefully they get the message.
There have been so many subpar YA, like, you know, for every good YA movie adaptation we've had like 5 subpar ones, and they never do well. Like,
they don't do well.
People don't want to watch that.
What's worse is that you get backlash from that. Fans they were frustrated that Cassandra Clare, you know, which is, I know it's maybe not fair in a way, but I was a bit frustrated too. Like, maybe next time you should be more involved with what they do with your script, you know, what they do with your book.
It's hard because, like, you sign it off to them before there's ever any chance of it being a movie.
And it would be so hard if someone came to me and said, well, if you sign this, we'll make a movie with you. I'd be like, no, thanks. Yeah, no, it's not going to happen. But at the same time, I'd be like, well, what are you going to do with it? Are you going to take the thing and just rewrite it with my character names? Or, because like in City of Bones, there was whole parts of the movie that didn't make sense. Right? I'm like, why are there demons in the institution or whatever? They can't come in there. It's hollowed ground. You know? It's like, plot hole right there. You've created one. They start. So much
I do think I'm hopeful. I feel like they're getting better and better. So, and they're involving the authors a little bit more in some cases, which makes me hopeful that if any of us ever gets to that point, that hopefully it'll be at a time when the authors get more of a say.
Yeah, I think movie studios are realizing that the more you involve an author, the happier the fans are with the final product. So you make more money. Like,
Totally.
it's in your best interest to involve the author.
Because when you have a good movie like the last Hunger Games that I went to it twice because it was amazing. You know, I wouldn't have done that. I wouldn't have bought 2 tickets and made my husband go twice as well. So that's 4 tickets that these people are making off of us, right? Like, you wouldn't have repeat viewings unless it's really good. So, hello, seems like common sense, right?
Yeah. And it's like with The Fault in Our Stars, I liked the book. It made me cry, for sure. It wasn't like my favorite book of ever. But like I saw the previews for the movie and I heard John Green talking about how he'd been working on the movie and I was like, oh, this is probably going to be a pretty decent adaptation of this book. I may not have gone to see it normally, but because John Green's been talking about it and posting pictures of being on set, I'm gonna go see it. I don't see very many movies in theaters.
It's just good for everybody, particularly if the author is tweeting it, right? If the author has a million fans on Twitter and they're all like, oh, this is what's going on at the movie set. I'm really excited to see this now. There's no one losing from this.
Instead of like the Percy Jackson situation where Rick Riordan is constantly tweeting about how much he hates the movie.
So funny. So bad. Yeah, you think you would want to make the author happy, you'd think.
He's open about how much he hates those movies to a point where I'm like, I'm kind of uncomfortable about how open you are about this. I don't know if that's okay.
He's open. That's just him though, and I love him. I follow him on Twitter because I find him so funny. He just does not have a filter. He'll tell fans to be like, sit down or whatever, like if they're sassing him. It's so funny.
And it's crazy because I'm very interested in like contracts and stuff, so I learned a lot about those when I was interning at a literary agency, and it's like someone approaches you and they say like, we want to do this, and of course your agent like negotiates and stuff as best as they can, but at that point it's like, okay, now that it's been sold, you just do it. And like whatever happens.
Making the author happy isn't a priority because
I'm hoping that's gonna keep changing as they realize authors liking movies is important for their fans. But especially back when Percy Jackson was bought, I feel like it was just they probably signed it over and it was just done.
I think Mockingjay.
One of my favorite moments in the theater, like at the premiere, was when she kills President Coin. My whole theater cheered and like clapped.
It
was amazing. It was like a huge cheer in the whole theater when it happened.
That's awesome.
Like you could tell it was a bunch of fans because like there weren't a lot of like gasps and surprise. It was just everyone like really excited because obviously they were fans of it already. You know. They weren't surprised by it.
That's awesome.
We had a lot of people who were surprised in my theater.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Like there was some hushed whispers and then excited.
Yeah. There were like the entire movie. It was just people like whispering the whole time. Like right before something would happen, they'd be like, "It's gonna be this." Like when they were like, "We're adding a new member to your team," and everyone was like, "It's Peeta, it's Peeta, it's Peeta." Like, and, like my husband's sitting next to me and he hasn't read them. And I'm like, don't spoil it. Be quiet.
You're shushing everyone around you.
But yeah, every like major plot point, everyone would be whispering about it right before it would happen. It was
so funny. Obviously, a theater full of fans.
Yeah.
I don't even remember. The first showing I went to was really packed, but I was so into the movie that I didn't notice anyone's reaction. And the second one I went to, it was like me and my husband and then 4 other people. Oh, wow. So the sales must have just dropped off immediately after maybe it'd been out for like 4 days or something. Crazy. Yeah. I guess the big fans went and saw it in the first couple days, and then after that, it was really only a trickle of people because you don't usually I don't know, unless you've seen all the previous ones, you wouldn't go to that one, and you kind of are a bigger fan if you've seen all the previous ones. So
I kind of wish the one thing I think that I like wanted more of was I wanted more of like their like real or not real game. All we got was that like one day in the tunnel in the Capitol where they like did it for a little while and Captain's like, I can't do this. And then you get the one at the very end where he's like, you love me, real or not real. And I feel like it would have been really easy because, like, it shows right before that, it shows, like, them sitting there in the rain and then, like, reading Annie's letter. And, like, they could have just had one, like, real or not real in each of those scenes. Like, Peeta could have said something. And it would have led up to it better because I was like, oh, like, it's so much better when you get, like, you know that they've been doing this all along. Like, you don't get that in the movie. You don't get the, like, the fact that they've, like, for years they've been doing this real or not real thing before he says that to her.
Even before everything is all like better between them, I would have liked some more things that were not real. That like a little more of showing how he's seeing things in his head.
Yeah, I wanted to see more, like them sitting in front of the rain and him being like, "Is this real or not real?" And she's like, "No, that's not real." You know, like I wanted to see like the fact that they had been doing that, and that was helping him get better. You know.
Oh, I really want to read the books again.
Yeah.
Because like
Making me really.
you know that what they did to him messed him up.
Yeah.
But they don't really elaborate that much on what they made him think she had done.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. And you didn't get very much of his recovery in the movie. You just kind of know that he recovered, you know.
I guess they felt maybe they were going to drag it out too much if they did that or something. I don't know.
Well, that was one of the things I did felt a little rushed because there was the whole like when they were staying in the shop overnight and he had to still be handcuffed because he wasn't ready to not to be at it. The next morning he could then it was fine. Like nothing happened between there. I can't be trusted. I need another 6 hours. Then
like I mean, because I didn't think that after that 6 hours he was permanently good or anything. It was just that like it was such a like back and forth for him that like he'd have his moments where he was fine and have moments where he wasn't fine. Like
but if there's not any chance you're gonna murder someone on your side, you keep the handcuffs on. Especially when you already have a history of murdering people on your side.
Yeah. And like such a rapid switch. You know?
Like I just feel like he had the forethought not to be like, okay, you can't quite trust me yet at nighttime, and then daytime is like.
The nighttime is dangerous, Kelly.
We're moving away from your character arc right now, so we'll just let you go.
Well, is that the time when she took off the handcuffs and then left, right?
Yeah, they separated.
So they were gone from each other. And she was
just kind of like, this is the final battle, so we're all either going to live or die anyway, so.
Yeah, might as well take it. Well,
I think they were like, you'll be more helped than you will be harmed, so.
Well, and I think it was more like, also in case this house gets searched, you're not going to be here handcuffed for them conveniently already.
So it made sense in that scene, but I wish that like after the war's over, we got more of the fact that he struggled with it for a very long time.
Yeah.
They were probably like, it's over now.
Because without showing that there's more of a struggle, it looks like that. It looks like the next morning he's fine and he's like good from then on, other than like a nightmare at the end. But like if they'd shown that, then that would have made more sense.
Yeah. I really didn't. I know that was in the actual book, but in the scene in the meadow, especially the second time around, I was like, meh, she has babies now.
Yeah, like I really like. I think that scene works really well in the book, but it didn't work as well in the movie.
Yeah.
I could have just done.
Because in the book, you get a really good sense of like, she's like, well, it's been like 15 years, and I'm an adult now, and Peeta wants kids, and we love each other, and so it happened. But things are still terrible, and I have nightmares, and blah blah blah.
Like, I'm still messed up, but I'm living. But I'm living.
Terrible.
Yeah.
Just neither book or movie did the epilogue part ever feel really necessary to me.
Never.
We saw that they were still living and kind of getting on with their lives, and
I remember liking it in the book. I liked the epilogue in the book.
Yeah, I don't know. I didn't like it in the book either. I think I would have been okay with it just ending like with the real or not real. You love me, real or not real.
Yeah.
That would have been a good note to end on.
It had more impact for me.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, I don't remember disliking the epilogue, but it never really stood out to me like at all. I was like, oh, this really happened. Whereas like in the movie, it was the same. In the movie, the thing that really I thought they did well and stood out to me was like them showing how isolated they became because of what they've been through. Like all these things are happening, but they want to be over here, far away from people. in these houses that seem like a ghost town, and I really liked that.
Yeah, all of that was good. Yeah, the epilogue feels like a disconnect from the rest of it.
And everyone that I saw the movies with just got super hung up on the Asian baby that they gave her. That's like all they could talk about on the ride home.
I didn't even notice
I didn't notice either.
Oh,
it just looked like a baby to me.
It was a very Asian looking
all
baby.
babies look the same to me. Like, you stay over there, baby. I'll be over here. I'm scared of you. So.
Yeah. I guess I wasn't paying much attention to. Okay, now I have to look up a picture.
Yeah, I'm trying to find a picture, but I don't know if there would be anything yet.
Katniss baby.
Well, now I have to go see the movie.
Because like, it wasn't even something that really bugged me, but everybody that I left with, they were just like, why was her baby Asian? So, not really the point of what you're supposed to take away from the movie, I don't think.
The baby doesn't look Asian to me. It's just one, though.
Not the one with PETA, the one she was holding. I don't know. I don't have an image of it. That was just my, like, what everyone was mentioning when we left.
So weird.
Yeah, like I appreciated that they were like faithful to the book, but I wouldn't have minded if they'd ended with a different scene. Like as long as it was still true to this, I think that's kind of the reason I like took half a star off of it. Is walking out of it, I was like, I kind of wish they had like modified the ending for a movie, because like I was never like, oh, what a beautiful last scene in the book, but I felt like it worked, but in the movie it didn't work quite as well.
And like to me, like I don't even necessarily have a problem with the fact that like Katniss did end up having kids, because I mean like everyone thinks the world is so screwed up and blah 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 when you're a teenager, and she's like 30 something. So like to me that was okay, but just like this, we're in a shiny golden meadow. Like in the movie, it's like, are you guys dead? Is this heaven? What is happening?
Are you dead? That's the first thing you ask. They're dead, right? Or they're dead?
Plot twist.
I didn't care that she had kids. I just didn't need to know that she had kids. Like, I would have rather left it just kind of... Like, it felt a little fan-fiction-y, I guess. Anyways, if you Google Mockingjay Asian baby, there are definitely people who agree with me. So I can't find a picture.
Okay.
Yeah, 'cause I know some people who were, like, actively upset that she had kids. I was like, well, she was like 16 when she said she didn't want kids.
But she was like 16
and the world was different.
Yeah, the world was completely, like, it's supposed to be kind of like a sign of the fact that, like, the world is changing and has improved, you know? And,
yeah, she said she wouldn't have kids because there was a chance they could be put in the games.
Yeah, not because she hates kids.
Yeah.
Just because she was like, this is a terrible world, I don't want to bring kids in.
I found a fan theory that the baby is an alien, so not quite what I was looking for. And also they called Tigress an alien. There's aliens in the Hunger Games.
Oh, she was creepy.
A lot of people laughed when she came up on the screen.
Oh,
really?
Like, don't laugh at her.
I liked her,
thought
but
she was pretty cool looking. Yeah, definitely.
I'm just reading a review on IGN, I think, of just kind of like summarizing the ending, and I thought it was funny. I honestly think it would be nice just to see a shot of the four of them sitting together staring at the new Panem, but instead Katniss has to give some melodramatic speech to her Asian baby, and then the movie ends.
Yeah,
Didn't
work.
Yeah, I think that's what didn't work about the ending. Like, if it had just been, like, a shot of them in the meadow with their kids, I actually would have really liked that, I think. Like, if it had just been kind of like from away, you know, like, kind of distance from them, just seeing them.
Just the final
like, being, like, up on her, like, giving a speech to her baby.
Yeah, because the speech worked for me in the book, because it's happening in her head. And she's like, I still have nightmares. Things are scary
It works
still.
as an internal monologue, not
like,
an external monologue.
That to your infant child.
Yeah. So, yeah, I wish it had been just, like, a watching them from afar thing, like, you know. I think that could have been cool, just to see like where they are.
Somebody in the comments, I don't know if this is true or not, says that the two kids at the end are J-Law's real life nephews. I'm not sure if that's true or not, but this is what this commenter is saying.
I just saw a question online. It was like, did Katniss lose her baby in the end of Catching Fire? No, she wasn't actually pregnant.
Wow.
Like, yeah, she lost the baby. Sorry, guys.
Oh, dear.
That whole electric shock at the end of Catching Fire.
Plot twist to the plot twist. She actually was pregnant.
There's so many people like on Twitter. Can we discuss the Asian baby in Mockingjay? Okay. Apparently, you were right, Kelly. Wow, I didn't register whatsoever. Apparently, I need to pay more attention or watch it 3 times.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, they are her nephews, I think, which is why it's Asian. I would think someone in the movie would, like, the movie production team would be like, I know it's nice that you want to include them, but that baby is Asian, so.
It makes no sense. Unless you're going to say something about, I'm so glad I adopted you, then it would make sense. But otherwise.
Plutarch.
What?
I was just thinking about Plutarch. We haven't talked about him yet.
Yeah, that's a good point. Because that was definitely something I was watching for in that movie, of like how they were going to handle it.
Yeah.
And there was really only the one scene where it was pretty darn obvious that he was supposed to be there.
Yeah.
Which one?
When Haymitch comes in, he's like, Plutarch can't be here right now. He can't be seen with you. Let me read you all of his thoughts.
Yeah. Let me do the scene that Plutarch was supposed to be here for.
Right.
So that was a little like, oh.
And it didn't even really seem like those thoughts had to come from Plutarch.
Yeah.
Like, it made sense if you had them, but it could have been easily, like, it didn't
My
need
guess
to
is
be that
it was
format.
like they didn't want to give it to someone else because it was his, maybe.
Yeah. It's his scene. Yeah. Also, speaking of Haymitch, I mean, I know he's like not in that book that much anyway. Like, there's no way to put him in there, but I missed him in this one. He wasn't in it.
Yeah.
Effie as well.
Yeah, I want like
Effie.
some Haymitch Effie fan fiction.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'll write you some.
Yes, thank you.
That'll be my
yeah.
Christmas project. Your Christmas present was some Haymitch Effie fan fiction.
Yes.
Don't be a stranger. I just love all
I
of
like you better
Effie's
when you're drunk.
all of Effie's outfits through the whole. Every
Yeah.
time I see her, I'm like, I love it.
My all-time favorite is still her like butterfly outfit in Catching Fire with like her like eyelashes or like wings and stuff. That one's so cool.
She had crazy eyelashes at the end of this one too.
Yeah, I like
I
her
just
eyelashes
love-
in this one.
I love how much Elizabeth Banks loved that role. Like the fact that she like went to them and was like, I want to play Effie. And they were like, oh.
Well, it's funny because there's that new Zoolander movie, Zoolander 2, which looks ridiculous. But the only reason I want to see it is because there's a character in it that reminds me so much of Effie.
Yeah.
She wears like these crazy big outfits and stuff. As soon as I saw that, I was like, it's Effie in a different movie. I really want to read this alien baby thing now.
I love conspiracy theories. I feel like this one won't hold up well.
It's going to take a lot of creative thinking.
I'll paste it. There you go.
Yes.
You're welcome. Stunning alien disclosure in Mockingjay 2.
Oh my gosh.
The Lionsgate Films makes movies that announce the New World Order agenda.
I like that this website is called Before It's News. So you can catch all this stuff before it becomes real news.
That's going to be good reading for later.
Alright, heading back to the comments before we wrap this up. Jody is wondering, did you girls know that the movie adaptation of Me Before You is going to star Sam Claflin? Yeah, that's it. I can't wait to see that movie. He was also in Love, Rosie, which I loved. So I feel like we need Erica here.
I haven't seen that yet.
No,
I need to read that book. That book's on my list for next year. Razor Wire reviews. I thought it was a strong end to a ridiculously consistent series. All great films. The sewer stuff was great. It was right out of an Alien movie. Totally agree.
Aliens!
Also said that prequels would be like the Star Wars prequels. Okay, we all know Anakin becomes Vader, so and I very much feel like that. But
Yeah.
To me,
true.
there were so many things that I hated about the prequels, but I
Yeah.
loved seeing Anakin become Darth Vader. I think that's just my kind of story. Like, I don't care how it's told. I'm always
But
gonna love seeing
there was
someone
so much
turn
more to
evil.
play with in the world building there. The
Oh,
stakes
yeah.
were different. So it was a different plot. But it's the same
Yeah.
kind of thing. Like, because of that kind of reveal. Like,
I don't know.
Like, if
Even
all there
though-
was to the Star Wars prequels is whether or not Anakin becomes Darth Vader, but they never would have gotten made, which
Yeah.
maybe would have been a good thing.
would
But
have been made anyways. They've proved that. But the thing is, like, that did have so much potential, and they screwed it up so badly. Like Megan just said, it was a very interesting transformation, or it should have been, but they did it so badly. I felt that, it was awful.
Like,
But
there's still parts that I loved. Like,
I really would love to see Snow, though, like, because I think he's such an interesting character that his ascension to power could be made very interesting.
But just like random games is not that interesting.
yeah.
Mm-hmm. Well.
All right, well, it's been about an hour, and since we all enjoyed this movie, I don't think there's a whole lot left to say.
please take the survey about the Word Nerds. I put a link in the comments.
There's a survey.
There's a survey. If you take it, if you want, you can have a 2-page double-spaced critique. So take it, please. We want your feedback.
Which comments is it in?
In the discussion.
Oh.
You don't see it?
No.
Let's see.
We will also leave it in the description of the video once we can go in and change that. So
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I just see to comment right now.
and we will tweet it and all of that fun stuff because this is our last video of the year. We are going on hiatus for a few weeks and we're going to miss you all terribly. We are going to be making a few changes over the coming weeks as we go into what we're calling season 3. So that's why we want to know all of your guys' thoughts so we can incorporate those as we're figuring out what to do next. Any other closing things I should be thinking of?
Keep an eye on our channel. There's going to be... I'm almost finished editing the first blooper reel.
We are also going to have some surprise extra bonus content kind of stuff over the holidays, so you don't
Yeah.
have to miss us entirely.
And I'll probably run some Words Burns over on the Twitter at some point. So just don't forget us. Just be our
We won't
friends.
forget about you.
Now I have that song in my head
Don't
from
you
Breakfast Club. Yes.
forget about
I'm not
I
gonna
wasn't gonna
sing.
sing it, but thanks guys.
I'm always there to sing creepy songs.
Okay.
All right, guys, that is it. Thank you so much for watching. We will be back. What date is that? The first Sunday in January, I think. Is the plan?
Yes. It's January
January
3rd, I think.
We will be back January 3rd, probably with something New Year related because why not? So until then, happy holidays. Enjoy lots of extra reading time, hopefully, and we will see you all very, very soon. Goodbye.
Bye.